Hello and welcome. So this video we're take a look at the new Voth Stronghold MW Dreadnaught. So we take a look at the Vanity shields available from the Dilithium store and the one from the Zen store. The lithium ones are only available during certain events of the year. Now there will be chapters listed in the description below for all the shields. Now, unfortunately, when I've been going through this ship with the Vanity shields, I noticed a lot of things that unfortunately triggered me. They might not trigger yourself. So, as we're rotating around just now, so that green there at the front, the Vanity shields replace that with the impulse engine effects from the shield. We have the blue there, and on the Vanity shields, that's either replaced with the nacelle colouring, the Basard collector colouring, no colouring, or a random colour. As we're moving around the rear here, those blue and greens are replaced by the deflector effect, as is that centre disc in the engine. I'm not entirely sure why they put the deflector effect in that engine, which to me looks to be an impulse engine perhaps. Now the ship itself looks absolutely fantastic. As I say, it's just for me, unfortunately, it's the Vanity Shield visuals that I tend to look at when I'm doing these videos. And the other thing to note is that these blue dots along here, they do change to sometimes be the Basard collectors as well. So, but we'll dive into the video, and you can have a look and judge for yourself. I'll try and minimise my commentary as much as possible on it. But yes, so stay tuned to the end of the video for details on the other links in the description below. So first up, we have the Mutara Alliance Vanity Shield. It's currently the only shield available in the Zen store as part of the Mutara Alliance bundle that includes the uniform and an upgrade. So we have that lovely white hull material with the grey shading and the gold shading there. That red, orange, yellow and white we're seeing at the front there, so that's the impulse engine effect. And that slightly orange in the orbs at the front is the Basard collector effect. And then we have a mixture of the deflector effects there and the nacelle colouring there as well. There we have the pattern deflector effect there. It does have a false green glow inside that engine housing that won't change with the Vanity shields. There's some more of that Zhat collector colouring down the bottom there, and you can also make out the triangular pattern there in the gold. And then as we're moving through the light source, you'll see certain parts of the hull do change hue in the triangular pattern as the light hits it. It's a very nice effect that the shield applies from the original Mutara Alliance ship's hull material. On the underside, again, we've got more of the white, grey and gold, some more of the deflector shading there, and some more of the Basard collector effects there as well. Then we'll look at the engine trail for this one, which is been overridden by the ship model. So that's the normal engine trail that's been shown there from the ship itself. So here we have a Safe Galaxy Refit Vanity Shield. part of the ones in the Dilithium store. So we have this patterned grey hull material. You can see some of the solid grey there as well. Then we have that golden shading there at the front from the impulse engine effect. And then we've got the golden shading there as well, so that's a mixture of the deflector and the nacelle colouring ones there. And more of the deflector shading here at the rear. Again, the deflector shading in the centre of that engine. So the facade collector colouring there at the top. And same there on the bottom. And more of the deflector shading there as well. Next up's a very popular shield in the game, and this is the Barrow Vanity shield. And with that black hull material, you see that vibrant red impulse engine effect there at the front. We have some white illumination on the side here, and some of the deflector cyan colouring there as well. And with the facade collector colouring coming down the front there. That red does stand out nicely against that black hull material though. More touches of it there at the back. Then we have the cyan pattern deflector effect around this engine housing and again in the centre. Now the green's not quite as prevalent on this one as it has been on other shields. And around as the light hits it, you can see the carved detail within the hull material. And more of the facade collector effects there. And the deflector effect there at the bottom. And more of that carved detail we're seeing. So here we have the Borg Vanity Shield, giving your vessel the look of a liberated Borg vessel. This grey patterned hull material made up of various shapes and sizes of hull plating. Also got this blue shading, which I've not seen on this shield before. Then we have the blue impulse engine effect there at the front, with the blue facade collector effects there. have some deflector pattern there. The blue of the either impulse engines or the cell colouring. You see this exposed conduit material down here with all the additional lighting as well. Touch of it there also. With that nice blue pattern deflector effect there. And you can see that exposed conduit material with the blue lighting, the yellows, the golds, the oranges as well. I do think those blue lines look quite nice with this shield actually. I wish there were more ships. And the underside, more of the bizarre collector effects. The deflector effect there, more of that exposed conduit material. Again, that grey patterned hull material there. Normally this shield doesn't have any engine effects on it, so we'll see if this one's the same. And again, just the one from the model itself. So here we have the Courier Raider Vanity Shield, one of the older ones in the game. So we've got this almost bare metal kind of colouring to the hull material, which is extremely reflective, so watch your eyes as we move through the video. Now we've got the white impulse engine effects at the front, and the bizarre collectors, the impulse engines, the cell colouring, deflector, they're all white, so saves me talking about it quite a bit now. See, I do like what the team's done with this ship design. I do think it looks fantastic. Just with all the shapes and that to it. There we go, with that light reflecting off it as it is getting a bit brighter. And then goes back down to that nice greyish tone to it. The front you might need some sunglasses on at the moment. Same as we look at the underside with the light just reflecting off of it there. The impulse engines normally have a white flame effect with this shield, so we'll see if this model has it or not. And yes, we do have the white flame there just at the deflector array colouring. So here we have the Discovery Vanity Shield. So this is one of the shields in the game that has two different visual appearances depending upon your faction alignment. So Federation aligned, get the look of the Starfleet vessels in Season 1 of Discovery. So if I have this two-tone grey patterned hull material, got that red honeycomb impulse engine effect there at the front with the bluish white bizarre collector effect there as well. We've got that blue and white honeycomb effect there on the side of the ship. Start to see that white and blue spoke pattern for the deflector there round about the engine housing, and then we see it inside the engine itself. See that pattern within the hull material as we fly over the top of the ship. And you see quite a bit more of that detail in the hull material on the underside there. And then the facade collector lighting there as well. So here we have the Discovery Vanity Shield on a Klingon aligned character. So that's brown, very intricate patterned hull material. We have that yellow and white patterned impulse engine effect there at the front. Just about make out the faint dots of red there for the facade collector effect. Then we have the orange and white here on the side for the deflector array effects. And some of the facade collector effect there as well. There's the orange, yellow and white of the deflector. That facade collector effect there at the bottom, you can just faintly make out the pulsating white with the red there. So to put all that intricate detail onto the shield is very impressive. I hate what Discovery tried to pass off as Klingons and their ships, but the work that the team's done for this shield has been fantastic. So here we have the Discovery Refit Vanity Shield. So a darker two-tone grey hull material. Got the red impulse engine effect there at the front. And you see on the side and the bottom here, that blue and white deflector effect. Then the white there on the side as well. White facade collector effects showing along here. Same on the front there. Now we have that pattern deflector array, so you've got the white with the blue outlines into the segments. And there we can see the nice pattern detail there of the hull material. So here we have the Emerald Chain. Insert excessively long name for the Vanity Shield here. So we've got this greyish brown patterned hull material. We've got this what I would tell as being an off-white. So it's mixtures of greys and whites, maybe a tint of yellow to it as well. So we've got same effect for the impulse engines as we have the same colouring on the deflector, the nacelles, the Bassard collectors for this particular shield. The pattern for the deflector always puts me in mind of a drawn sun. So you see the orb in the middle and then the rays of light coming out in the spokes. See different textures and patterns there as we're flying over the top of the ship. Here we have the Emperor's Vanity Shield. So we've got the grey hull material with some touches of purple shading there. That big cyan colouring of the impulse engines. The orange there is the deflector colouring. You can also see some of the Bassard collector colouring on the top there as well. And the deflector pattern there on the side and again there on the bottom. As we're going around, you'll see these blue dots and dashes, so that does cover the full hull material. So in the shaded areas, you do see it quite nicely. There's that lovely orange pattern deflector effect there. Those blue dots and dashes do look like a starfield when viewed in the shaded areas of the ship. And the way that purple shading's outlining that lower pod looks really, really nice. Here we have the Ferengi Vanity Shield. So we have the orange hull material that we're used to seeing on the vessels in the TV show. plus some gold shading there as well. We'll have that deep yellow impulse engine effect there at the front. The yellow of the facade collectors there. We see some of this rivet detail as well, which is quite a nice touch to this vanity shield. Some touches of grey there on the top. Then we have the yellow pattern of the deflector there on the side and the bottom, and the yellow nacelle colouring here as well. And there's that yellow pattern deflector with a grey surround to it. I wonder if the Ferengi think painting their ship, their colours, makes it theirs. Or if the Voth actually met the Ferengi first and this is why they were annoyed when Voyager turned up. Again, you see quite a bit of that rivet detail there as we look down. Here we have the Hur'q Vanity Shield. So we've got the green hull material there, this brown shading. Got the green pattern there from the impulse engines. Have the green pattern there of the deflector and the green nacelle colouring there. You can also see this illuminated green material there on the bottom. It's very nice. I think this shield works really well on this ship. And that wonderful use of the illuminated green material right all the way along here. Then we're getting around the outer edge of the engine housing there, and it's also on the inner edge as well. There's that lovely green patterned deflector array effect. See a bit of pattern shading there as well, giving it a bit of a textured look. And again along that spine there as well. So here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. So, like the Discovery one, it does have two different visual appearances depending upon your faction alignment. So for Federation, we're getting the look of the Starfleet vessels in the reboot films. That grey hull material, with that orange patterned impulse engine effect there at the front. And it looks to be that awful facade collector effect just going along there as well. So with this dark blue and white pattern going along here. Then we have that blue pattern deflector effect there that's meant to imitate that of the Enterprise in the reboot films. And that's quite a nice deflector effect to have in the game. So here we have the Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield on a Klingon line character. So we've got a few different shades of green there for the hull material. The red honeycomb for the impulse engines at the front as well. We have the yellow there of the Bizarre collector effects. Also seeing some lines of grey there from the hull material. Then we can see the red pattern there from the deflector effects being shown. No nacelle colouring though. And there's that lovely red pattern for the deflector array back, and a bit more of that yellow there from the Bizarre collector effect. Now we see some more of that grey lines there, and that deflector array pattern effect on the lower section. So here we have the Prodigy Vanity Shield. Look at this lovely grey hull material, and the red there of the impulse engine effects. The orange and white from the deflector effect there. And this blue and white nacelle effect going on as well. And the blue and white Bizarre collector effect also present. Very bright effect there from the deflector colouring. It is white and orange there. Next up is a very popular shield in the game. This is the Section 31 Vanity Shield. So I've got this dark hull material with several different tones of colour. We have the red honeycomb impulse engine effect at the front there. Then we have that cyan patterned deflector effect on the side and down the bottom. The hull material itself is made up of a lot of a square pattern within the material. You see that there's the lights reflecting off the front. We have no nacelle colouring on this one on the sides. The Bizarre Collector effect is blacked out for this shield, so it could very well be that was assigned to those sections. There's a cyan pattern deflector array effect there at the back. See some of this stripe material here down the bottom and around the outline of that pod as well. This is the Shrike Vanity Shield. So with this rusty orange hull material, we've got that red and orange patterned impulse engine effect there at the front. The orange Bizarre Collector effect on the side there. See some of that burgundy shading now, and touches of grey at the top. Then we have this yellow and red deflector pattern there on the side and at the bottom. And at least the target is on the back on this particular model rather than being on the front in that deflector effect. I've got a nice grey outline there on the underside, more of that burgundy shading. That's that deflector effect there on the bottom. Here we have the Tzenkethi Vanity Shield. It's one I always refer to as a very busy shield. So we've got a green hull material, we've got grey shading, we've got black, we've got a carved pattern to it. We have a illuminated panel lighting there as well. And we've got the white there from the impulse engines at the front, the white of the Bizarre Collectors as well. Then we have this lovely warm yellow and orange of the deflector showing there on the side. If you look at the edges of the engine there, you can see that pulsating light effect. And there's that lovely orange deflector there. And more of that pulsating light as we're moving round. See a nice carved detail on the hull material as well. Quite a lot of intricate work in this shield. And we also see a touch of black shading there around that lower pod as well. And last but not least, we have the Zhat Vash Vanity Shield. So one I always refer to as an army camouflage, just because we've got that sandy brown and olive green hull material. See at the front there, the red of the impulse engines. And the side and the bottom there, we've got that lovely green pattern of the deflector. We have the green dots there of the Bassard collectors. We have some red going on the side there. And there's that lovely green pattern deflector. And that concludes our look at the Stronghold. So first off, thank you all very much for watching. Quickly go over the links in the description, and then I'll give my closing thoughts, as a certain TV host used to say. So we have my Real Merch affiliate link, which will give you 5% off your first order, and that does stack on top of any sales at Real Merch. Got the Discord. Also got my X and Blue Sky in there as well. Then we have the STO Wiki and the main Star Trek Online news blog as well. And then for other content, we have Casual Sab, Nick NB, MC Stu, Mutara Alliance, and Thornburg Media. So if you haven't checked any of them out, please go and drop them a like, a follow, a sub on whatever platform. They will greatly appreciate it. Now, on to my thoughts. So, first off, the ship does look absolutely fantastic. Hands down, it is lovely. Now, as we've seen me talking, going through the vanity shields there, and some curious choices. So, personally, I would have made the green change to the Zod collector effect. I was retained around here and along here as the deflector colouring. Down the bottom, I would have had the nacelle colouring. And certainly at the back, I would have had the impulse colouring. I would not have had a deflector effect sitting inside an engine housing. So that's just my thoughts. I'm going to feed the back and see what happens. As the team are extremely busy. So, but again, along here as well, I would have probably had the cell colouring and married it up with the bottom for the vanity shields. But all in all, though, the ship does look absolutely gorgeous. And just when I fly it, I don't think I'll have any vanity shields on it though. Anyway, that is us. So thank you all very much for watching again, and I'll catch you on the next live stream or the next video. See you then.